Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pageant Sit Down. My name is Regina Lena, and I am your host. And I am so excited for all of you to be here tonight because we have a very special guest. She is none other than Miss Supranational China 2021, Alice Lee. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Regine. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for fitting us in your busy schedule. So, Alice, you are no stranger to the Canadian pageant world, but now also stepping into China. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Alice. I was born in Beijing, China, but I came when I basically grew up and did my education mostly in Canada, mostly in Toronto. So I feel so grateful to have such a multicultural background. And it's really opened up my mind so much more. I find myself in this interesting kind of middle spot where I have the opportunity to represent Canada, but then sometimes I have the opportunity to also represent China. And honestly, I'm really grateful. I take it as like the best of both worlds. I represented both countries before in the past on the international stage, and this is actually the second time that I will be representing China stage.
Oh my gosh. And the first time you represented China, you won the international title. So it's amazing to just see your journey go from, I remember you competed in Beauties of Asia here in Toronto. I did as well, but we were different years. And now seeing you represent both, really, it's just so inspiring to watch.
Thank you. I think Beauties of Asia was probably when I first got to know you. I'm trying to think. It's a long time ago, but I think that was the that I first got to know you through.
Yeah, we met a very long time ago, but it's like, you know, in the pageant world where you compete with all these girls or you meet them at different events and then you just somehow are on each other's social media.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. And Beauties of Asia feels like such a long time ago. And I remember looking through pictures of you doing Beauties of Asia because you did it before me, right?
Mhm.
You were a bit earlier than my year.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But you know, Alice, we're talking about Asian heritage, and it is Asian aware, or it's Asian. I get it wrong all the time, but it is Asian month for all of us in May. And you know, there's a lot going on right now with Asian hate crimes, and you know, being a beauty queen and a pageant title holder. Have you found a shift in how yourself out there?
I don't think there is anything I'm doing recently in terms of changes necessarily just because it's a particular month of the year. I think it's this perspective that we should always be encouraging everyone all year round, not just 1 month. I mean, we should always be promoting acceptance and promoting openness and respect towards each other. I think that's something that should be celebrated every day of the year, not just this month. So I would love to see that from everyone. I hope to see that last beyond just this month of the year.
No, 100%. It's just sometimes with all of the crimes that are going on and now all of the awareness, which is crazy to think that it's just now that it's happening. I was just curious to see if there was a shift. But I do see that you are doing a lot and a lot of fundraising, which had to kind of switch over the pandemic. But you were out in not Nathan Phillips Square, in Dundas Square, Yonge and Dundas Square in Toronto, and all over the subway stations, and basically busking for charity. What inspired you to do that?
It was a very personal project. It came from a very personal place of mine, and all the ideas just kind of came all together. The cause that I'm supporting comes from a personal story. I my main charity that I support is a children's charity that helps children who have been abandoned and orphaned and don't have a family. So that's something that I personally find passion for because I've been through that as a child. And then being a performer, dancing, singing on stage, that's been like a dream of mine, like a childhood dream to be a performer. And then I thought, okay, I can just do it out on the streets. I don't need to wait for someone to say, yes, Alice, you're now a performer. You don't need to wait for someone to tell you, yes, you can, because every single day, yes, you can. And that stage outside on the streets is waiting for anyone, anytime, 24/7. There's always an audience. It's always open. It's anybody's stage. So it's up to you to go take it and make it what you want it to be. I thought it would be a great way to just bring that attention and awareness towards a cause I really cared about. I didn't personally need the money. I wanted to really also break the stigma around. There's a lot of negative stigma surrounding people downtown who kind of bother you and ask you for money, and you just don't really know what's up. But I really wanted to bring a more positive vibe to the downtown area, make everything charity, make it for a good cause, put out some good vibes, and just do it as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. And, with the shift with the pandemic, and everyone being in lockdown, what did you end up finding yourself doing to raise funds and awareness for your charity?
It was really challenging, and I was just so sad that I wasn't allowed so much outside anymore. I always had to keep such a close eye on the rules and like exactly how many people per outdoor gathering and what were the changes. And sometimes it was just too risky and it wasn't something I could do. But instead, I moved it virtually. So I started setting up virtual platforms. I did like a whole live performance, but it was completely virtual. So like on Instagram Live, on Facebook Live, and then I also blasted my LinkedIn people as well. So I think the online network, it's stronger and more powerful than you would think. Definitely take advantage of it, especially the past 2 years. It has shown us just how connected we all can be with internet. So we got to use it as best as we can.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about social media and your network, and you are one of the girls. When I open my LinkedIn, you're there. When I open my Instagram, you're there. Your social media is amazing, and I loved seeing like you sharing everything. Like I would never think to share, well, this is just me personally, to share like my pageant experience on LinkedIn. Then I go on and I see you sharing everything. I'm like, maybe I should, because it is a network and it is a great way to connect with people. And I don't know, I always got scared to do it. And then I see you doing it. I'm like, maybe I should do it too.
I think you should, girl. I think if pageants are what you are, like, because I grew up with pageants, I feel like I live and breathe pageants. So I fully embrace that. I don't hide what my passions are. So no matter what platform it is or who I'm talking to, this is me. I'm an open book, and I'm just I feel like I can just share anything.
It's true. You, like I said, you inspire me because I would see you because you work for an accounting firm, and when I see you go to your galas and you're all dressed up, I'm like, wow, like I wish I had the balls to do that. Like literally, I wish I could do that. Like I used to work for a corporate event, and when they found out that there was a gala, they're like, "Oh, pageant girl, are you gonna dress up?" And I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should. I should pull an Alice and like dress up in a gown and go to a gala."
You should, girl. If it's in you, embrace it. Do what you feel like. Show your personality, show your style, and honestly, the world is yours. So I would say go for it. If you want to whip out that ball gown, go for it. I do it all the time. If I just want like, sometimes I just want a nice, cute picture for Instagram, and I have a really cute dress or something very something very non-casual that I want to wear. Yeah, I'll go outside. I'll go to Dundas Square. I'll go downtown Toronto, and I'll do my pictures. And a lot of my pictures are actually self-taken. So you can imagine how people walking by might be staring, being like, what is this girl doing? She's like dressed up like full hair, makeup, heels, everything. She's got a tripod. She's got her own devices, a self timer, and she's like doing her thing. She's living her own life.
Do you, girl? Do you? I love that. You know, every time, like, the fact that you do this on your own with your tripod and a self timer really makes me kind of like, you know, FOMO, kind of like, oh my gosh, I wish I did that too. But I mean, we're in a pandemic, so maybe not right
Yeah.
now.
Well, I think that was also one way that I was trying to still do some of what I wanted to do during the pandemic, because that means I didn't have to go out with a second person to get like a certain picture I was envisioning, right? Because I can just go outside in the fresh air in the open just by myself and with all my photographic devices, and I can just execute everything on my own, so I don't have to be like worrying about social distancing and photographers wearing a mask and all of those things. Like, I feel like if you can do it by yourself, you go girl, you go do it.
Exactly.
So yeah, a lot of my pictures are actually self-taken. I think that's one thing a lot of people don't know.
Well, now we do.
Now you do, and I go out with like these big Nikon cameras with all these different lenses, and I have two different Nikon cameras that actually use two different remotes, and it's sometimes a bit of a hassle, and I've got these big camera bags, and
Oh my
do what
gosh.
you gotta do, girl. Get those Instagram pictures.
Do it for the gram. I honestly thought you would be using your phone and just be self-timering it, but no, you bring out the professional gear. It's amazing.
But sometimes I also use my phone. I use a little bit of both. But when I bring out my bigger camera, people are all being like, what is this girl doing on the streets? She's posing, she's got a self-timer, and there's no photographer.
You know what? I have to say, I really commend you for just living your authentic life. You don't care what people think about you. You know, you dance at Young and Dundas. You played, was it the violin that you played? No, the flute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, you just live your best life and you're authentically yourself in the busiest streets of Toronto. And I commend you because, like I said, I don't even have the guts to do that. So maybe I should dip into what Alex does and just do it.
You should come. I
Oh
mean,
my
I feel
God.
like you have the stage presence, like you know what it takes to just feel that moment on stage, like being a performer from pageantry. So I feel like we could do it together.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. We'd raise a lot more money too.
I know, that'd be so cool. We can go with our crowns and sashes.
Galaxy would be like, what is she doing? I love that. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth Marnock is in the chat. She says, Regine, please go perform. I will donate so much. Well, there you go. We got our first donation.
Oh my goodness. That is so cool. We should do it sometime. Like after the pandemic and it's like all safe and good to go. It'll be so cool. I think
would
it'll
love
be
that.
so cool.
What I could do, I'll MC your act, and then you come on and you do your thing, and it'll be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all, folks. Bye.
Oh my God, that would still be a huge help. You know what? That is actually more help than you might think it is. Because what happens is I would be doing these like intense, full energy dances that are literally like HIIT workouts. And then go from one dance to the other. And from the beginning to the end of a song, what happens is you basically start to build a crowd because when people like what they see, they stop. So I always end every song with a bit of a crowd building up, and then you don't want to lose the crowd. So then you're
Yeah.
thinking, okay, let me just go to the microphone and introduce the next song like ASAP so that I don't lose the crowd and I can to the next song. But then you're like out of breath, huffing and puffing, and like you can't even speak, and then you sound really bad, and you're just like, this is the next song, but I can't even breathe, and I'm just gonna play the music. So
Oh my
now you
God.
can come in.
I got you.
Yeah, so now you can come in and be like composed and be like,
I got you.
that was XYZ, and now she's gonna perform ABC, and all the donations go to blah 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 blah, and then we'll be like, oh my God, it'll be so good.
I love that. Elizabeth said, this is so impressive, Alice. I always love seeing your performance on social media. Well, you got a fan.
Oh, thank you. I was actually planning like a 3-day consecutive performance 2 months ago in April on Easter weekend. And I had like my volunteers set up. I had like new t-shirts for everyone. I had everything set up. And then that same weekend, the province announced more restrictions again. So it got canceled like the day before Easter weekend.
Oh no.
I was really sad about that because I felt like I was waiting all winter, waiting for the weather, waiting for restrictions to get better. And I thought, okay, April, we're getting there. And it was like, oh, I have to wait a bit longer. So now I'm looking at like fall, hopefully in the fall before it gets too cold. Maybe we can do something there. But as soon as we're allowed to go out and host outdoor public events, I feel like I'm just gonna be there like every single day. Definitely.
So when you do that, when you do, Alice, do you need to, because Yonge Dundas Square, it's a very popular, busy street. Do you have to get a permit to do what you're doing?
Yeah, so what happens is the permit is from the city of Toronto, so that's where I got my permit from. And it's actually not free. There is a bit of a fee for it. It has to be approved, and then there's a bit of a fee you have to pay every single year. So I paid my permit fees for the current year 2020, but I haven't been able to use it yet because of the pandemic, and there's no refunds.
Oh gosh.
So that was kind of sad. And same with performing in the subway. There is a license for that as well that has a fee. And again, I haven't been able to do anything in the subway this year. So it's just a part of reality right now. We're all dealing with different circumstances and trying to get through everything together.
It's true. Well, I only wanted to, we went on for like half an hour on this topic, but I wanted to ask you about it because, you know, there are girls out there and women who are looking for appearance ideas and fundraising ideas. And, you know, it's so hard for them to come up with ideas, but I think what you do is so out of the box and so original. So I really wanted to get to know more about your ideas and how you came to do that. And now hearing that you take your own photos outside, you do everything on your own, it's very impressive what you're doing, and you need to get the credit where credit is given. So kudos to you for doing that, and I hope that you continue to inspire not just pageant girls but also the younger girls who might be walking outside at Yonge Dundas or switching the subway and seeing you do what you do, because it's amazing.
Thank you. And I'm gonna be getting you as well. Don't forget.
Yes. Elizabeth is going to hold me to it, and I'm going to hold her to the donation. So don't worry, Alice, we got this. I love it. Actually, to all of you who are watching, if you have any questions for Alice that are pageant related, excuse me, make sure you leave them in the chats below because I will be sure to ask her your questions. I'm going to go to an Instagram question, actually. One of the questions is, you competed in a pageant during the pandemic. What was that like?
Oh, that's a good question. So everything was executed so carefully with so much care and precautions. We were actually socially distancing the whole time. So the pageant was held in one hotel. We basically didn't leave the hotel. We kept all the activities indoors so that we kind of had our own bubble. And we wore face masks the whole time. Anytime we were eating for meals, we went back to our own hotel rooms to eat and then continue on with any other activities. We had a limit as to how many people could be in every room at the same time. So for example, for rehearsals, for opening number, we learned it in groups of, I think, less than 9 girls at a time. So that was really challenging. I've never done that before. And I do have experience with dance, so it wasn't as difficult, but I can't imagine for other girls who perhaps were not as confident in dancing on stage, but then you have to learn it in like a little group of less than 9 girls, and then it's hard to envision what the actual show's gonna look like when all you see is only like your group of girls, right? So to see it all come together and everyone worked so hard, all our girls were trying their best, putting in their best effort, and we made it work in a socially distanced and safe way. So yeah, it was very interesting. Before the pageant, I was so curious as to like how are we gonna make this work, and they actually did make it work. So kudos to all the girls and the team. The show went very smoothly.
Yeah, I was watching. I was like, oh, what's up? What's going on now? What's going on now? It was very interesting to see the groups that were on. And yeah, you mentioning you only practice with small groups and then to bring everyone on together. I'm not a dancer. I have 2 left feet. Choreo is not my thing. And so I can only imagine what would have happened if that was me. But I mean, you guys did amazing. And then you also competed in a completely virtual pageant. What was that like?
That was a really interesting twist as well. That was my first time doing a virtual pageant. And what I really liked about it is that we had the time and the opportunity to get creative and put in our own twist when it comes to how we want to showcase ourselves. Because now you have the advantage of filming once, twice, repeated, make it perfect, make it very, very perfect. And it was about the camera angles, how you edited it, the music and everything. And I was just like, tripod, let's go.
You're used to it.
So I love how I had that space to just be more creative about my vision. And I thought it was so much fun. I'm really glad I tried it at least once, because if I did it twice, I don't even know what I would have done differently, because I was just so passionate about this one vision I had for the virtual videos for like swimwear and gown and everything. So I love how all of my videos turned out. For my evening gown, I waited until it was a day where like the snow had just come down really heavy and everything was like a white winter wonderland kind of look. So that morning when I woke up and I saw the snow has blanketed everything, I was like, this is the day, let's go out. I'm going out in my ball gown, we're walking in the snow, and we're gonna do this evening gown video. And we did it. I froze my fingers and toes off. It was ice on the floor, and I wore some open toe heels. My fingers were just like absolutely not even a part of my body anymore, but I loved it because that's just like how my creative side comes out. I had a vision, and again, like I just feel like whatever I want to do, I'm just gonna do it. I had like families with kids that were playing in the snow, like walking their dogs, like sledding down the hill because the snow had just come down. And yeah, like they're watching me and I'm like watching them have fun, and it's great. Everyone does do.
Again, another testament to Alice just living her best life and doing what she got to do, and I love that. I wish we got to see the videos because we only got to see who won. I wish we got to see your edits and your walks and the finals, but I know that you're going to kill it representing China in the next couple of months. But before we do that, before we talk about your upcoming pageant, I do have a segment on this show, which is 5 tips from a beauty queen. And Alice, you've been doing pageants for a very long time, and you've been able to represent 2 different countries internationally and have won internationally. So what would be your top 5 pageant tips for all of those who are watching us tonight?
My first tip would be to go to every pageant with a vision in mind. And by that, I mean have a vision for how you want to look in evening gown and swimwear and perhaps day one showing up and things like that. Just have a very have an image of that vision in your mind, how you want to feel, how you want to look that day. And then you see that come to real life. You work towards making that come true. And I think that is a process that I personally really focus on, and I really enjoy just like seeing your vision just like come to life. But it always starts with a vision. You have to imagine yourself on stage, like see yourself on stage and how you would look first. And the stronger you can connect with that vision and make that come true, I think that's how you perform more confidently and stronger when it comes to the competition. So that would be my first tip, to really envision what you want to do on stage and just make that come true. The second one I would say is showcase to the judges not only why you should win the national pageant, because when we speak pageants in Canada, a lot of the times girls are answering questions like, I should be Miss Canada because blah, 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 blah. But instead of that, think further, think beyond. Tell the judges, I think can take win at this international pageant because, and I think that takes it to the next level, right? It's not just why you should represent Canada, it's why you will give Canada the best chances of winning internationals if we pick you. That's the end goal, right? You want to be the international winner, the international title holder. So I think that just kind of brings your whole story together, especially in an interview setting. Talk about how you're going to be able to win the international title, not just nationals. So that's my second tip. And my third one is there's no such thing as too early. Oh my goodness. I have heard so many pageant stories from other pageant girls about how crazy their last day before the pageant is, all their last minute things that come up, like appointments, fittings, dress, last minute fittings, stitching, all their appointments and everything just come together on the final day. And then you go to the pageant in a huge rush. You didn't sleep the night before. Try to avoid that as much as possible. Trust me, even if you don't plan anything, the last day before the pageant, something's going to come up. So leave it empty. Leave it empty as much as possible. And the best thing that you can do before the day of the pageant is to have just like a reflective and calm day before going to the pageant, instead of like rushing around to all your appointments and being like, oh my goodness, my dress still needs alteration. So plan ahead as much as you can, and nothing is ever too early. Number 4, I would say my next tip is to stay in your own lane. Now, this quote is not from me, but how I apply this to pageantry, staying in your own lane, is every girl is on their own journey when it comes to pageants. And even though it's a competition, it's not a competition about comparing each other. Everyone literally has such an amazing story. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. So it's all about celebrating where everyone is coming from. So that's what I mean by staying in your own lane. Focus on your own journey. Don't focus on other girls, and don't compare yourself to the other girls, because that's not going to help you. That's not going to help. It is harder in practice than saying it. And I've learned this throughout so many years of competing in pageantry. It's all about meeting all these other ladies who have come from such unique experiences. Learn from them, right? Learn from them, meet them. You meet all these new friends, and then stay in your own lane. And the last tip that I have is, after every single pageant competition, I always make the time to just take everything in, reflect, and think about the journey that I've just been on. I think that's really important, to reflect, think about how you did, how you think you did, what are some things that went well, some things that didn't go well, whether you won or you didn't win, and that's okay, but just reflect on it from a personal perspective. I think that's where a lot of the growth, the personal growth, also comes from pageantry, and that's honestly one of the really important benefits of competing as well. Just always elevating yourself, trying to do better, and that really comes from reflecting on yourself.
Those are some amazing tips. So, Alice, thank you so much for that. And if people wanted to find more about you or follow your journey as you go on to a next international pageant, where can people find you?
They can find me on my Instagram at AliceLee_official. And I would love to hear from everyone. If you had any more questions that you wanted to ask me directly, feel free. I am going to Miss Supranational in just 2 months. It's coming up so soon. I can't believe it, because I've been waiting all year. And now it feels surreal that it's coming up in just 2 months. So that is what I'm working on next. I've been training, I've been getting ready. My wardrobe is about half ready. My national costume just got here. So things are coming together, and I'm really excited.
That's so amazing. I do want to talk about that pageant, but first, I have a question for you. So, I was snooping through your social media, as most people do, and you were once a Miss Teen Canada, and then you grew up and then you became Miss Canada. What was that like for you to become, like, literally full circle within this organization?
I think it just goes to show what a positive experience I've had when I first started competing as a teen, that I wanted to keep on competing in the Miss division after I turned 18. And I think also when I was competing in my younger years, one of the biggest challenges I had was pageantry with school. But then now it's balancing pageantry with work, and it's a whole different world, right? So the learning, the growth, all of that is still there, and it changes from year to year. You're still learning new things from every single new pageant journey. So that's why I didn't stop after competing in the teen division. I started when I was 16, and now I am 27, turning 20. So it has been a long time. It's been a very long time, and yeah, it just goes to show how much I fell in love with it, and I'm just always up for the challenge every single year to keep improving myself.
That's amazing. I love that. A question from Instagram. The reason why I wanted to bring that up was because of the Instagram question. And the question is, I am a teen. I've been in the teen. I can't read today. I've been in the teen division for all of my pageant journey, but I'm now stepping into the Miss division. What is the main difference between the two?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of the times it depends on which franchise you're competing under, right? Because sometimes the scoring and the categories are a little bit different. But for me, I think one of the main things was just how you present yourself and your image, right? Your image as a teen is very different than someone in the midst of. I remember when I was competing as a teen, even the way that I was presenting myself, I dressed very youthful, and a lot of my gowns were a little bit more prom style versus like red carpet gala kind of style, if that makes sense. So you just have to do your research about the specific pageant you're doing, whether it's teen or miss, but look at the specific pageant and what they're looking for. Right now, I'm like hitting the age limit very soon for a lot of major pageants, and now I find myself to be usually one of the oldest contestants in every competition. And it's interesting. It's kind of coming a full circle because now I'm trying to dress a little bit more youthful, back to my days, because now I am one of the oldest contestants. So I'm bringing out the pinks, I'm bringing out the fun colors, I'm bringing out like all the youthful styles because now I'm like the oldest girl here. So let me bring out the prom dresses back.
I love that. And so when you go into the next international pageant, which is Miss Supranational, can we expect fun colors and more of a youthful vibe, or are we expecting more of a red carpet fashionista Alice that we know and love?
I would say it's still gonna be that fashionable red carpet style worthy, but I basically am not gonna plan anything black into my wardrobe. I try to avoid black so much.
Yeah.
I go for a lot of whites, pink, light colors, like very fun colors. That you can definitely expect this year at Supranational. But yeah, just behind the scenes with my wardrobe, I'm really trying to avoid all the black, the dark tones, or anything close to that. So yeah, really youthful, but at the same time, keeping that fashion style there.
I'm so excited to see. And you mentioned it's in 2 months. So, what have you been doing to prepare yourself, especially while we're still in lockdown?
Yeah, the lockdown makes it so challenging. I've had to really just get creative with how to put my what used to be a gym routine and make it work at home now. So I've just been like slowly getting more and more gym equipment as I slowly realize the gyms are not going to open anytime soon.
Yeah.
So every few months I find myself being like, the gyms are still open. I think I need something else. I need to buy something else. So it just keeps building and building. And now I have a little bit of everything that I need at home, which is great. I'm incorporating much more running into my cardio now because I used to do some different classes at the gym, some group fitness classes that I absolutely love, but now I'm just kind of solo and just doing them outside around the neighborhood. So it's all about getting creative and just working with what you have, right? So yeah, fitness is a huge part of just my lifestyle, with or without pageants. And with pageants, I just go like my out through my fitness journey. I just love advocating for a healthy lifestyle, just feeling strong, getting active, and just getting outside, go for some fresh air. And at the same time, Supranational, I feel like it's such an opportunity to showcase fashion and style on the international stage. So I really want to just fire that up this year for Supranational. I love how I was watching Miss Universe a week ago, and I loved everyone's outfits and how much thought went into styling every single one of their looks. I'm just like so starstruck. I'm so inspired. And like from watching Miss Universe this year, I'm just like thinking about Supranational, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm so inspired. I just want to go in presenting my best self in every single aspect. And yeah, I've so much planned. So excited.
That's amazing. Well, I think you're going to do amazing. You've represented China once before and you did amazing. You won. And now you're representing China again. And I think you're making not just but also Canada proud at the same time. So can't wait to see what you wear. I'm going to be following your social media, seeing what you're doing. I'll be checking on Instagram just to see what Alice is wearing and what she's up to, because I don't know, there's something about your style that's very fashion forward, but also you know when you look at a magazine or you see like a fashion vlogger or blogger and you're like, I can't wear that, but then your outfits look like they could also be everyday outfits, and that's inspiring as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Alice, okay, you've been competing in pageants since you were 16. You are almost 28. How many pageants do you think you've done altogether?
Oh, I lost count. I tried to count. I've been asked this question before, but I honestly lost count.
Wow.
It's at least somewhere in the 20s. It might be in the 30s, because I've also done a
Wow.
lot of smaller pageants as well. And even a few like small city town level pageants. So yeah, I've lost count. Might be in the 30s, which
That's
is crazy,
insane.
but I
Oh my
love it.
God.
But I
It's
love
like
it.
one for every year that you've been alive almost.
Yeah, almost. But except it's condensed into like 11, 12 years. And there were a lot of years where I did more than one, or there were years where like I did like provincials and nationals and internationals, and that would be like 3 in 1 year, but they were like separate pageants and separate journeys, right?
Mhm.
So, I lost count.
That's amazing. I love that. So, what is it about pageants that keeps you hooked?
I think it's the journey that it takes you on every single time you go on a new pageant. And I always say it's a journey, not a destination, right? It's always a process of how you want to improve yourself in what aspects, right? And it's the skills that I learned from pageants. It helps you in all aspects of life. Training for a pageant interview gives me an edge in real world job interviews in the professional space. And
Mhm.
that gives me an edge that other people don't have, because they come from such a unique perspective with pageantry in the back of my mind that other people may not have, right? Other people probably have similar tips for interviews because they all came from, let's say, business school in Ontario, and they've gone to like similar network events. But then I come in with like a whole set of background info from pageant interviews, and then you can just apply so much of that. I mean, that's just one example, but there's so many more examples. And yeah, it's so much growth every single year. It keeps me so excited. It's like something I always look forward to, and it's always a challenge. Always keeps you on your toes. Never sit down and relax. There's always room to improve. That's what I always think. There's always room to improve. If I lose, I'll compete again. If I win, I'll compete again. Because it's not about losing, it's your own journey.
That's very true. And you are, like you said, aging out of the Miss. There are now different pageants that are Miss. So, example, I'm in the Miss division now. Do you see yourself moving into that division after this pageant?
I think I would definitely consider it. I know Galaxy is just leading the Miss and Mrs. division right now, and I've been following it the past few years. I love what they're doing. I love how they have such a age range, and it just opens up so many opportunities to more contestants out there. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I haven't thought that far yet, but you can tell how much it would be so sad if I
Yes,
had to stop just because of age, which is just a number, right? So the fact
exactly.
there are Mrs. categories out there, that's amazing. And even if I don't compete in the future, I love to at least support the older women in the future.
Well, you realize you now mentioned Galaxy Canada on this interview, and I guarantee you will get a message from Cindy. Be like, I heard you say you wanted to watch. She'll come for you.
Love it. Cindy's such a
She will
sweet.
do it. She is. And I love how, we've all kind of gone the same pageant experience. Like we've all done similar pageants together. We've all done Beauties of Asia. We've all done different pageants, yet we've never actually competed together.
I know, we kind of just missed each other year to year, but we've always been competing, right?
It's so crazy.
But we kind of missed each other from year to year. We even sometimes go to the same events. I think I remember I ran into you at an event quite a few years ago.
It was Canada
It
Day,
was the
the Canada Day parade. I remember
yeah,
we were walking. I'm like, Alice, hi.
it was the parade, and I remember running into you, and I was just such a girl. I thought I was the only one.
I love that. I love, it's so crazy because some people think like they have this misconception that pageant girls are super competitive, they're super catty, but at the end of the day, if we see each other out on the streets, we'll say hi to each other. We support each other, and I think that was an example where we saw each other like, oh, I'm not the only one here. Hooray.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it's such a community. And even in a country like Canada where pageantry isn't that popular, we are still such a strong knit community. Like I really do feel that. And you see the same girls here and there over the years. You stay in touch. Every national pageant literally is like a reunion of pageant girls from all across the country. Like it doesn't get any better than that, right? The pageant organizers are basically helping us a friendship reunion all across the country.
That's a great way to like look at it. But it's true. You see everyone that you've ever competed with. I love that. So who knows, the next pageant you compete in, which may or may not be Galaxy, or it may be another multi-divisional pageant, maybe you'll see everyone again, because now it literally will be different divisions, different walks of life. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens in the next few years.
Well, I'm excited because I know you are on an amazing journey to Supranational. You have some amazing things going on behind the scenes as well with your own personal life. And I think a lot of amazing things are happening your way. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check Alice's Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook out because big waves are coming in her direction.
Thank you so much, Regine.
No problem. And I know that there are a lot of people who follow my Instagram who have asked specific questions, and Alice cannot answer those right now, but like she said, follow her on Instagram and ask her those questions there. So going back to pageants, Alice, some girls, they do multiple pageants. I think you're the only person I know who's done 30 pageants in a span of 11 years. Do you see yourself maybe one day running your own pageant or being a pageant coach?
Oh, I think that would be so much fun to run a pageant. I do already do pageant coaching, but just in terms of my social media branding and the many different projects that I'm always trying to promote at the same time, and I feel like I'm just everyone on a daily basis. But I do already do pageant coaching. I've done it for many years now. So, but it's just not something that I talk about too much on social media because a lot of my other promotions take priority, and I'm not always so I'm not always being like, do you want to come train with me kind of thing. But yeah, I've had a lot of long-term clients as well that has trained with me year after year. I've had some more shorter term clients that are kind of like just take me out for one pageant. And even outside of the pageant world, I already do training for people who just want to work on, for example, their public speaking or their interview skills or their resume, right? Or they just want me to double check their LinkedIn and give them some tips on their LinkedIn profile. So things like that. I think it's all kind of like the same sphere in terms of just trying to see if there's anything you have that you can, like in terms of knowledge, that you can just like transfer to someone else that would be helpful. So I think that's kind of like the same frame of thought for me when it comes to just like coaching people for any purpose. But running a pageant, that would be so much fun. I think I would have so much fun running a pageant. I don't know which one. I haven't thought too much into it, but event management, and recruiting girls, trying to build a valuable opportunity that could be of positive contribution to other women's lives. That is so meaningful. I would love to do that.
And I'm sure you would run an amazing pageant. I mean, 30 pageants under your belt with 11 years and still counting. You've won multiple titles. You on your way to an international title, perhaps, maybe, fingers crossed. So I have no doubt that whatever you do, whether it be pageant coaching, continuing to pageant coach, basically life coaching, or performing on the streets, or for charity, of course, or just doing your own thing and running your own pageant one day. I think whatever you do is going to be amazing because, like you said, you have been doing this for so long. You have the experience in it. And so I think, you know how Drake says YOLO? I think he stole that from you because you literally do your own thing. You are your own person. And you, like I said earlier, are authentically yourself. And I think that is very inspiring. I wish I could do that. I wish I was a little bit more like you in that sense.
Aw, thank you. Totally can,
You're
girl.
so.
You totally can. I know. I support you. Anything about you, just embrace it.
Oh, I will. I will now. Now that I've had you on the show. That's the thing I like about this show is that I have all these different people from different pageants, different walks of life, different countries, and I get inspired by everyone's story. Yours especially, I've been following your journey for so long, so to now be able to talk like this and to share your story with the world is just so fun.
Same here. And I feel like I've known you for such a long time as well. Like we're both in the same area too. And we finally get to just actually sit down and talk. Thank you. Thank you for
No,
being together.
well, thank you. I know that you've been really busy with a lot going on in your life right now, and I wish you all the best with your journey there as well. But I also wish you all the best for Supranational because I think you're going to represent China amazingly. And again, also Canadians who know. And I think you're just killing it. So keep doing what you're doing. Alice, thank you so much for joining us today. And as I start to wrap things up, because again, I know you're very busy, do you have any last words or thoughts that you'd like to share with the people watching?
Oh, I would say if there's a lot of pageant girls who are watching, anything that you're passionate about, just go for it. No dream is ever too big. Dare to dream really big, really far, and go for it. So many things that you see me do right now, I never thought it was possible. I mean, I didn't even think I had what it takes to do pageant in the first place. So I think that the moral of the story is dare to dream big, dream far, and go for things even if you think it's impossible because it's not.
And that's coming from Alice, so you know it's true. Well, again, Alice, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, best of luck with all of your future adventures. We are all watching and following and supporting you. And to everyone who tuned in this evening, thank you so much for joining us for another hour of the Pageant Sit Down. To all those who are watching, for those who are in the chats, and for all those who ask questions, thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you want to continue watching more, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I go live every Monday and Wednesday and pageantry. Again, Alice, thank you so much for putting us in your calendar and for sitting down and chatting pageants with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Regine. It's so nice to catch up a little bit.
Yes, and I can't wait to hear all about your journey moving forward. Again, everyone, thank you for being here, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye!